Today I'm going to show you how I set up the foot switches in the Headrush Prime. The Headrush Prime is a new modeling unit, and I'm currently developing preset packs with the best high-gain tones you can get out of this unit, like I offer for all the other modeling units you know from my videos. If you would like to get one of these preset packs, please contact me on Facebook. And anyway, I created one preset here and played around a little bit with the configuration. So I would like to show you in advance how these presets will be set up, especially how the foot switches are used or are usable in this thing. So I've prepared the camera for you here, and I hope you can see it now. So let me move it a little bit. So here we have the display, and yeah, this thing doesn't come with a PC editor, so that is a little bit of a bummer. But I have to say the 7-inch, I think it's 7-inch touchscreen is very nice and comfortable. Anyway, so here you have the effects chain which I'm using, and my presets, which you will get in the preset pack, they will cover everything from yeah, high gain, crunch, and clean, and also lots of effects. So it's basically starting with the volume, and then B is the other mode of the expression pedal, so which will be the wah, I think. But I will explain you these presets when the preset pack is finished. So just briefly, you have some effects which are coming with the rig. So compressor, a phaser in this case, stereo doubler because it's a stereo preset in this case. You have the vibrato, dimension chorus, the amp, which is a clone in this case, something which I tone matched, if you want, so from my other modeling units. By the way, the unit is really good at cloning amps, so that is the biggest benefit of this thing. And an EQ, which I use mostly for my clean scene. What else? Another parametric EQ, which I'm currently not using here in this rig. Reverb and different delays. So, but today, as I said, I would like to show you the foot switches. This unit comes with 12 foot switches, but 4 are not assignable, as far as I know at least, because the one is rig up and rig down, and one is tuner and one is a tap tempo function. So you have in total 8 foot switches, at least here, which are assignable, plus external pedals which you could connect, which I didn't do still. And of course the expression pedal. But today I will focus on these 8 foot switches. And yeah, each foot switch can either trigger or load a specific scene, which means there are some, or you can choose which blocks are active. For example, here I have the lead scene on this foot switch, and here you can see that the volume pedal is in the state of on, so it's active. The wah is no change. That means if it's on, it will be on if you are coming to this scene. If it's turned off, then it will be also turned off in this scene. Compressor is off in this scene. A phaser is also no change. And yeah, I will explain you in a second why this is set to no change. So you have basically here the choice between on, off, or no change for each block. And also you could load a specific preset in each scene, which I'm doing here. As you can see in the amp block, I'm loading a high gain mids preset, which is basically a setting of an amp. And in another scene here, the crunch scene, you can see I'm loading the crunch mids preset of the amp block. And these are presets which I made. It's basically the crunch preset has less gain than the high gain. So here in the crunch scene, you can basically see if I go from rhythm to crunch, the chorus is active. And also here, this is flashing, the amp block. That means there is another preset loaded. But you can hear there's also a gap which is coming from the amp block being reloaded. So that is a little bit of a bummer. And that is the case as soon as you are starting to use these presets for the amp block. Even if you are switching from scenes which are using the same preset, like rhythm and lead, they are using the exact same amp settings. You can see here it's refreshed and therefore you have a gap. So maybe the beautiful people of Headrush can address this issue. If no new preset is loaded, maybe you don't have to refresh the amp block, and then maybe there won't be this gap. Because usually these scenes are designed to eliminate these gaps which you have when you are switching from one rig to another, because there is many data which has to be loaded. But if you're staying within one scene, it's only the idea is that you have just to activate some pedals, some blocks, or deactivate others. Anyway, so back to the pedal settings. As you can see here, I have 4 different scenes on these blocks here, on these pedals here. You can assign colors to these scenes and also names. And of course, you can, as I said, you can edit which blocks should be on or off. And this concept of scenes is really something which I appreciate, because in other modeling units, for example the mowers, you have these control switches. The control switch can be assigned to turn on different blocks or to change the state of different blocks. But it's not like a scene. In the scene you will define the state of a block. As soon as you hit the button, each block will be in the programmed state, except the ones here which are in no state, no change, but in this case it's wanted, it's a desired behavior. I will explain you in a second why. But with the control buttons on the mower units, for example, you're just changing the state. So it depends which block is in which state. If you hit the control buttons, what will happen? You always have to keep in mind that. That is really annoying, especially if you are assigning more than one block to one controller. And here you have best of both worlds, in my opinion. You have the ability to assign scenes, but also, as you can see here, these 3, vibrato, tremolo, and square phase, I assigned it to toggle, or I set it to toggle mode. Oops. And that means it's basically turning on a block on or off. Just one block. In this case, the tremolo. And if I go now from rhythm to lead, and the tremolo is active in one scene, it's also active in another scene. That's only the case because if I go back to the scenes here, you can see in the rhythm scene, the tremolo here, it's set to no change. So it will stay active if it's already active. If I set it to off here, and I would activate it here, and then I would go to the rhythm scene, it would be turned off. But the reason why I set these 3 things, phaser, tremolo, and vibrato, to no change is because these are effects which I use really rarely, and I don't want to sacrifice a scene for example, just one snapshot where I'm using the phaser. So here I have the ability to use the phaser maybe in a Van Halen-ish solo. But also if I'm in my clean scene, and I can turn it on or off. Same with the tremolo. both. As you can see, they are activated. So these are maybe my special effects, if you want so. And yeah, that's very nice. Yeah, as you can see, I'm using 5 scenes, and these are basically rhythm, lead, and then this one, which is currently called ping pong, which is basically should be another delay, just a stereo delay, which is a little bit longer than in the lead scene, and crunch. Basically, should use less gain. As you can see here in the rhythm scene, I'm using 12 dB gain and here is 0. So that is the thing with the different preset in the amp block. And what else? Also, I have a clean scene. And as always, I don't use an amp for my cleans, as you may know from my other units. So here I'm using basically the timbre graphic EQ. But also I could use this timbre graphic EQ with a different setting and a different preset in another scene. Currently I don't need it, but I could do it this. So clean scene will come. And that's basically it. And what is also there, as you can see, I'm currently using the volume pedal as the first effect here. So that is basically allowing me to reduce the gain and have these beautiful crunch tones out of every high gain preset. So that is also something which is very flexible. Because usually I don't use the volume pedal in the sense of really changing the volume or playing live. I'd rather set rhythm and lead, maybe the lead to a little bit louder, 3 dB or something. But here you can use this, if you put it for the amp, to act as maybe to reduce the gain. And it works really well with this unit because the amp clone, the amp model in this case, an amp clone, it's really dynamic. So yeah, but back to the foot switches. This is something which I forgot. Yeah, you have scene and toggle. Okay, you have another function here, which is called hold. That means basically. Sorry, no, I think I'm in the wrong scene. Okay, it's working. That the effect is only active as long as you push the foot switch. I don't need that, but yeah, it's there. Of course, you could assign different colors to these scenes. For example, here, if you are in the edit mode, you can assign specific color to a scene. But if you are here in the toggle mode, you don't have the edit function, as you can see. So the toggle mode is basically addressing only one effects block, but if you are in one effects block, then you can go to the menu of this effects block. In this case, the stereo double, and here you can change the color. It will appear near the foot switch. So that's basically it. With these foot switches, I have to say you're very flexible, and it's something which I really appreciate. I don't see myself using the rig up and down button, because usually I would stay within one rig, at least for the song. And of course you could go up and down with these buttons. It's a little bit annoying, so I would rather do it or appreciate doing this with the knob. But it takes quite a long time here, so I think they should work a little bit on the browsing function with this unit. And there are also some other issues, bugs in the software. For example, if I go to another rig and then come back, as you can see here, suddenly now the gain is not there. It's just at 0, not at 12 dB. You cannot see it, but I can hear it. But as soon as I push the amp, nothing will happen. Okay. That's a little bit strange. Usually it should go to the safe value. It doesn't do that in this case. So that is maybe a bug in the software. Okay, in this case it was just because of the wrong scene. And then I maybe saved the initial state as being in the crunch scene. But even in the rhythm scene I had this I have it sometimes that when going to this rig, that the amp was not in the right state. Here you have it, I think. Now I came back and should be rhythm scene, but it's definitely not 12 dB gain. As soon as I hit this, then it's loading the safe values. So that's definitely a bug in the software which they should address, because it's very important that if you're going to a rig, it's loading the correct values. Because in a live situation you cannot go through all the blocks and make sure that they're in the correct state. But I'm sure they're working on that. Other than that, I would also appreciate if you are loading another effect, that the initial state here in the pedal settings would be off. But currently it's no change, so I guess. So if I'm loading another effect now instead of the vibrato, for example, then it would be switched to no change. And you have to reprogram every scene then. But yeah, that is also something which they will maybe address. I hope so, at least. Other than that, it's a fine unit, and the biggest benefit of that unit is the cloning ability. Please check out my video about that, and also make sure that you subscribe to my channel, that you will get every information on all these modeling units, and especially my preset packs, which you can get if you contact me on Facebook. So yeah, that's it for today. See you.